All right, we're live. What is up? Had some technical issues with the computer before I kicked off this show. Glad to be back. Took last week off. Was in Mexico on a little vacay with the fam, doing a fam jam. It's a good time. Probably post a few pics on Instagram in a bit. But yeah, it was just nice to get the hell out of cold ass Canada and get some sun on your skin and bones, swim in some cenotes, eat some good food. It's good times, man. So today we are at the 81st installment of the Unplugged Alpha podcast, talking about dudes that love comforting lies, essentially. It's it's a funny one. It's a funny one. I think you guys will like this one tonight. Do me a solid. If you're in here live right now, hit the like button just to get the algorithm pump. And if you're watching elsewhere on the YouTubes, on the Facebooks, the Twitters, the Twatches, the whatever else, hit that YouTube link that I just dropped there and head over to YouTube and subscribe to the Unplugged Alpha podcast channel. It's the easiest way to support the creation of content. If you guys want to participate in the chat, just make sure you hit the members button and join on in, and I'll definitely keep an eye on Q&A stuff. I'll be taking questions later on in the show, so you guys will be able to call in and ask whatever the hell you want, and we'll chop it up. So let's get right into this. You know what, dudes? It's real funny because I've noticed around a third of guys, when you unplug them from society's comforting lies, they go back to them. It could be more, could be half, but it seems like it's at least about a third of dudes like to go back to the comfort. They like to go back to what is familiar, if you will. They've seen the code in the matrix, as they would say. They've unplugged. They see the world for what it is, reality of relationships, money, self-care, dating, all that stuff. And they're like, nope, not going to have it. I like the shit that I believed before. I want to continue to sleepwalk through life. It happens to a lot of guys. In my book, which, is sort of the basis of this podcast series, if you guys haven't got the book, definitely get it. There's a second edition that'll be out later on this year. And I've got the second book, which will be out shortly after the second edition, with some more stuff, just kind of diving deeper into the rabbit hole on this. And I just think it's a good idea to have all these ideas and stuff in more than just video format. Paper's always a little more durable than YouTube. Who knows what happens, with this content in the future. I'm sure it's not going to be around forever. So that's why I'm doing it that way. But yeah, I've done well over 1,000, maybe 1,500 calls with guys privately. Every show I take at least, I don't know, somewhere between half dozen to a dozen call-ins every show. There's 81 episodes in this show. I've done them on the Before the Train Wreck as well. We took call-ins when I was working with Sean. I've talked to a lot of people, and I've noticed a lot of dudes like to, let's go back to what's comforting. Don't want to do what is real. Don't want to do what works. Don't want to do what I know women respond to. Don't want to do what the facts demonstrate. I want to go back to my comforting lies. I got an article that I'm going to kind of zip through in this kind of opening segment on cognitive bias, because I think that's a big part of it. But yeah, it's a reality. Guys will literally say, thank you. This has saved my life. I had the muzzle of a 45. I was about to chew on it the other day, and without the group of guys in the community, in a group, whatever, I don't know where I'd be. And then they'll just say, "Oh, but you're a bunch of misogynists," or "I don't like what you're talking about today." It's weird. It's very, very common, and I don't think we, as guys that have unplugged and continue to do the work and take ownership, and be accountable and hold others that want to be accountable as well, should really care, to be honest with you. There's always going to be crabs in a bucket, as they say. You throw a bunch of crabs in a bucket. Apparently, the way that they operate is when one starts to climb out, the ones in the bottom will grab them and pull them back down. So this is purportedly how it works with crustaceans and buckets. Works the same way with dudes. I see it over and over again, and you can beat yourself up and get sad over it. Like I've seen comments from guys in my discussion forum. I have a private discussion forum. I know I don't mention it enough. People always tell me, why don't you talk about this more? Put the ticker down at the bottom. So I got a community. Yeah, but I've seen guys in the community and they'll be all, this, that, and the other thing makes sense. And know that, we'll just use chicks as an example, because that seems to be like the driving force for a lot of guys still is. This chick will be a total train wreck. She'll be toxic. She'll be narcissistic. She'll be manipulative. She'll be the kind of person that can ruin you personally and financially by going back to them, and they'll go back to them anyway. They know what they're like. It's like a building is marked and it says, this is the slaughterhouse. And they just march back into it, knowing exactly what they're marching into. And their friends are, standing there on the way while the guys are walking into the slaughterhouse being like, yo, dude, are you sure you want to do this? This is really not the best idea. And dude just keeps marching in. It's marching into that slaughterhouse. And all you can do is just step aside. It's like, look, if that's the kind of person you're going to be, if that's the way that you want to run your life, and you want to invite chaos into it, you want to complicate it unnecessarily, cool, have fun. But there's probably going to be some distance made between you and those people. I don't have time for bullshit in my life, and I don't encourage anybody to tolerate bullshit. I mean, look, man, when you're younger, yeah, you're going to put up with some more bullshit. You're a younger kid, you're in your 20s, you're still kind of figuring things out, right? You're going to put up with people that do stuff like that. It is what it is, right? How do I stop my friends from doing this? And another one that pops up a lot that I've seen, even in my discussion forum too, is how do you save men that don't want to be saved? And I'll tell you what the answer to that is you don't. You don't. They don't want to be saved. Don't save them. Fuck it. Who cares? Let them go. Let them march into that slaughterhouse. Let them do what they're going to do. Let them invite chaos into their lives. Let them return to the train wreck that's going to ruin them emotionally, financially, intellectually, all those ways. Let them do what it is they're going to do. Roll up your sleeves, as I am doing now, and get on with the business of what you get on with doing. And let them go. Because this is how we should handle things, I believe. You should put yourself first. You should make yourself your own mental point of origin. You should allocate your fucks to the things that are truly fuckworthy, right? I talk about that in one of the chapters of my book, Managing Your Energy. Talk about other things in my book, like managing your endocrine system, but specifically you need to manage your energy and only dispense it on things, on matters, on people that it's truly worthy of your time. I mean, one of the things that I'll get, from time to time, if you've watched enough of my podcast or enough of my videos, you'll hear me talk about this notion of ASKholes, and that's ASK, by the way, not ASS. It's ASK hole, right? ASKhole. And all that means is you're asking the same thing over and over again, but doing nothing with the information that you're provided, and you're reverting right back to what it is that you're doing. That's an ASKhole, right? So if you have people in your life right now that are doing things that, they're asking questions, they're asking for advice, they want help with something, you provide a solution, you provide the advice that would be useful, and then they do nothing with it, and a few weeks later, or a day later, or a month later, or whatever it happens to be, they come back and they ask you the same shit again. Just look at them and say, you're being an asshole. What's that? Explain it to them. This is what you're doing. I don't deal with people like that. I already told you what to do. Go do it. Fuck off, right? You're going to get a lot of people like that. Your boy is 40, like old dogs, new tricks. Very, very true. I can retrain a 20-year-old man before I can retrain a 40 or 50-year-old man, right? I can tell him the exact same thing, and I do. But the older guy, because they have decades more of societal programming, decades more of all those marketing messages and bullshit and TV shows and sitcoms and men ain't shit. Men are useless, all that stuff coming at them. Women are great. They're beautiful at any size, use my pronouns, whatever, all that stuff. Because I've heard decades and decades of that stuff, to try to show them something completely different and adopt it and use it, I believe is less likely than a 20-year-old who's only, maybe been hearing these messages for, 15 years or so. What is that age when we start to become like, where you start to develop memories? For me, probably 4, something like that. So, you have 15, 17 years to untrain programming that's not useful. You can do that a lot quicker than somebody that's adopted that for 30, 35 years, 40 years, 50 years. I've seen those guys go back a lot. Not just the older guys, but younger guys too. And I see them go back all the time. And it's like, what the fuck are you doing? Right? Why are you getting mad, at the facts? I've said it before. I'll say it again. I quoted it several times in different parts of my book. If you have a problem with the facts, your problem isn't with the facts. It's with you. I'm going to spell it out. I'm just going to say it. That's it. When you know something to be true, 1 + 1 is 2, 2 + 2 is 4. If you're going to tell me all day long that 2 + 2 is 5, I don't give a shit. Believe whatever you want. I'm fucking done. I know what the facts are. You've seen what the facts are. Argue whatever you want in whatever direction you want. Go think 2 + 2 is 5. Have fun. Enjoy. Argue. You know what? Go on Twitter, because that's where everybody likes to go argue. Go on Twitter and argue with those dipshits. See if that's a good use of your time. Right. Anyway, let me pull up this article here so I can tear through it real quick and get over to the business of taking some call-ins. I'll drop the link for the call-in a little bit. The way the call-ins work, I always get people that DM me and ask, how do I get, I got a question. Don't DM me. Don't email me questions, okay? I mean, if you want to send me a link to something like a story, something you want me to take a look at, it might be worth covering or reacting to, commenting on, whatever, fine. But if you have a question, there's 2 ways that you can get your question answered. You can call in live on my Unplugged Alpha show, which is always done every single show. All you have to do is have an internet connection and be willing to talk about it. Want to. Or you can book me privately. That's it. I don't do email consults. I don't do DM consults. This is the way it's always worked. This is the way it's always going to be. So cognitive bias is the other thing that I wanted to touch on, because I was sort of scraping through this, and it's a notion that I've come across many times when it comes to beliefs and your belief system and what, how can I put this? So I had this business coach, right? It was like 10, 12 years ago. We'd done several retreats with this guy. He's fucking brilliant. And, he's talking about your beliefs, your decisions, and your results. And it kind of stems up that way. It's like kind of like your gut, your heart, your brain, whatever. You hold beliefs true. Like, I don't know. I believe that places in the Caribbean are beautiful. The beaches are amazing. Weather's, fantastic. Food, if you go to the right place, is great. Don't go to Cuba. You get the idea, right? But I mean, like, you hold these beliefs, and then it's like, okay, well, it's cold out. It's winter. I don't like Canada in the wintertime. I need a break from this bullshit. I want to go somewhere warm. So now I start making decisions. Okay, well, where do I want to go? I know this area. I know this area. I know this resort. Oh, I have a friend down there. He's got an Airbnb. Maybe I'll book his place, sort of thing, right? And then you go, and then you have the results. And the results are, the experience that you would have out of the beliefs that you hold true and the decisions that you make and where you go, and the experiences and the stories and the photographs and the the memories that you make from all that. It's the same thing with anything else. It's the same thing with relationships. It's the same thing with money. It's the same thing with entrepreneurship. It's the same thing with your job. It's always belief, choices, results. Okay. Nobody tells you what their beliefs are, but you can always tell what their beliefs are by looking at the results. If they have shit results, all I have to do, like, I play this game with my kid, and I've said this, many times, right? Whenever we're at the grocery store and I see somebody that is visually unhealthy, okay, you put it on whatever side of the spectrum you want, but visually you can tell they're in a sick, inflamed, overweight body. And you take a look at what's on the conveyor belt that they're about to check out on. And then I take a look at what's in my buggy, because I'm always up next, right? And what we look like. And I tell my kid, I go, I want you to take a look at that and what's on the conveyor belt, and you tell me what the difference is between those two things and what's in our buggy and what we look like, right? These are the sort of things, that I'm talking about. Beliefs, choices, results. I walked through the same grocery store that he or she did with the buggy down the same aisles, and I put different things in mine that they did. They got the frozen microwave dinners. They got the fucking candies. They got the packages and packages of chips, the pops, the sugary drinks, all that shit, right? I got produce. I got meat. Boom, right? I got all the good shit, right? There's a reason why you get the results that you get. There's a reason why you're broke. There's a reason why you have shit friends. There's a reason why you have crappy relationships. There's a reason why your girlfriend, your wife, your gal, whoever you're dating is disagreeable, bossy, fat, whatever, it is that's, on your case that's bothering you. It's because you believe that certain things are passable. Oh, it's okay. It's tolerable. I need to accept those things. It's totally fine. Fine. Have fun with your results. Have fun with your shit results. You want to make those choices? Have fun with those shit results. Let's go back to this cognitive bias thing over here. Systematic. So definition is a systematic error in thinking that occurs when people are processing and interpreting information in the world around them and affects decisions and judgments that they make. Okay, blah, blah, blah. It's going to go on. So this is one of these breakdowns that they're trying to dumb down to like a grade 8 level, written by a medically reviewed person with a bunch of little letters after the name. So let's say the degrees up there. Signs of cognitive bias. Everyone exhibits a cognitive bias. It might be easier to spot in others, but it's important to know that it is something that also affects your thinking. Some signs you might be influenced by some type of cognitive bias include. Okay, so these are some of the signs. Only paying attention to news stories that confirm your opinion. So very true. It doesn't matter where you are on the political spectrum, whether you're conservative, whether you're liberal, whether you're libertarian, whether you're a Democrat, Republican. Every country's got their own name for it. It's just another shade of bullshit. Okay. You're going to pay attention to those news stories that say, go get the beer bug jab, lock yourself down. Money is bad. It is a root of all evil. Dye your hair purple, eat shitty food, protest for dumb things. You get the idea. It's like a collectivism. Blaming outside factors when things don't go your way. We talked about MGTOW, which sort of, moves into like a black pill movement, which is a very nihilistic, negative sort of view. And this is one of the things that a lot of, the guys that sort of, throw in the towel and pack it in, and they're just like, things aren't going my way, outside factors, women are impossible. I'm not good looking enough. My skin's the wrong color. I'm not tall enough. I don't have enough hair, whatever, blah, 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 sort of bullshit. So you start blaming outside factors and you're not looking within yourself. Cognitive biases, right? Attributing other people's success to luck, but taking personal credit for your own accomplishments. That's a good point. Assuming that everyone else shares your opinions or beliefs. And the last one on this list is learning a little about a topic and then assuming you know all there is to know about it. I'll tell you guys right now, I don't know shit about shit, and I'm a lot older than I was when I started thinking that I knew shit about shit. The deeper I go down the rabbit hole and see things for, like, they goosed me when it came to the beer bug shit, right? The whole scamdemic thing. There was a good month, maybe month and a half. I was like, Mom, Dad, don't go shopping. I'll get your groceries, drop them off, everything, we'll figure this out. Sort of like, there was a time where they had me for a month, maybe a month and a half, maybe a month, let's say. And then I started looking at shit, and it's like, you start to examine, you're like, okay, there's a lot more to know here. There's a lot more to figure out, right? Weird shit goes on out there all the time. Like, I saw this earlier today. They created a vaccine like in months, less than a year. I don't know what the timetable was. Let's call it like 6 to 9 months. It seemed like they created a vaccine very, very quickly, authorized it, put it out in the public, but they can't solve cancer, right? Like, that's not solvable. You fucking vaccine to stop a pandemic. You can do that like that, lickety split, right? So you start asking questions about these things when you examine. A lot of these guys that get unplugged and they see things for the way they are. Like they hear a soundbite like, she's not yours, it's just your turn. That just summarizes that women aren't very good at being monogamous to the first guy that they're intimate with. That's reality. Are all women like that? No, absolutely not. But that's in their DNA, that's in their nature. There's a lot of factors that vary around that. Does she have options? Is she good looking enough to move? Is the guy a complete loser? Does he chase excellence? There's a lot of factors that go around that, right? So you just can't make, one call, one job, like assumption based on a little bit of information. I still learn more every single day, guys. Like I'm always reading, I'm watching videos, I'm consuming books. I mean, I'm usually doing about 2 books a month. I used to do book reviews. Funny thing was, is some people would watch them, most people wouldn't. I'm like, why am I talking about it if people aren't going to pay attention to it? Fuck it. I'll just read the books and, I'll share information as it's relevant to topics that I'm talking about. Anyway, types of cognitive biases, anchoring, attentional. There's a lot of different types that they break down here, which is a dozen, which is a fucking lot. I'm going to skip that. Causes of cognitive bias. If you had to think about every possible option when making a decision, it would take a lot of time to make even the simplest choice because of the sheer complexity of the world around you and the amount of information in the environment. It is necessary sometimes to rely on some mental shortcuts that allow you to act quickly. Fair enough. I mean, fight or flight, the old lizard brain that, dominates, oh shit, it's going to kill me. I better run away from it. Cognitive biases can be caused by a number of different things, but it's these mental shortcuts known as heuristics that often play a major contributing role. It's kind of accurate. They can be surprisingly active, but also lead to errors in thinking. Other factors that contribute to these biases are emotions, individual motivations, limits to the mind's ability to process information, and social pressures. One of the things that I learned, what was it? Sapiens? I think it was Sapiens. Today's hot drink is a mix of coconut Thai, chicken broth, and beef broth. Really good. Ups my protein intake. It's about 15 grams in that glass. It tastes really good. Anyway, back to social pressures and stuff like that. Noah Yuval Harari wrote the book Sapiens. Don't like him as a person. He's a dipshit. He works very closely with what's his name? Klaus Schwab. But I think a lot of the observations that he published, and they seem to be well received, is that the reason why humans exist on such a large scale today around the world is because of gossip, is what it boils down to. We all agree on a lot of commonalities. Like, for example, I don't have my wallet here. But let's say I had like a $20 bill in my hand, like a USD $20 greenback, boom. If I were to show this to just about anyone, anywhere on the planet, they would all agree that is worth $20. There's probably a handful of people, maybe some Amazon tribe in the middle of the jungle that has no need for money. They don't use monetary paper or anything like that. They've probably never seen it. They might wipe their ass with it. Okay. But the vast majority of society would all agree that's worth $20. That $20 you can take to any store, pretty much anywhere in the world, and it would be exchanged for goods or services in equivalent value to $20. These social pressures are everywhere. That's why everybody still agrees that the USD is still the dominant currency, which we're going to see change, right? Like dominant currencies in the past have moved from commodity goods, straw, hay, milk, steel, aluminum, gold, silver, paper money, Bitcoin. There's a lot less adoption on cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin than there is with USD, even though the USD is basically shit and will go away one day. I can guarantee that. Maybe my lifetime, maybe not. But at some point, it's going to be shit. Social pressures push people to believe these things, and they go and chase more of it. But they won't do things like exchange a USD for same equivalent value of Bitcoin. It's too volatile. I don't understand how it works. Doesn't make any sense. Educate yourself. Look at things, right? Social pressures can be very powerful, extremely powerful. Gossip is extremely powerful. I mean, 78%, I think, of the global population fell for the scamdemic and took the experimental jab because they said that, it was going to solve the problem. Some people were coerced, basically under duress. If you don't do it, we're going to fire you. But the vast majority of the world fell for it, right? It was only a small portion of the people that actually asked questions and said, hold on a second, let me think about that one. Really? You guys made this fucking solution in 6 to 8 months? Why don't we have a solution for cancer? You can move that fast. Anyway, tips for overcoming bias. Being aware of the bias, consider how the bias might influence your thinking. And one study research provided feedback information that helped participants understand these biases and how they influence decisions. The results of the study indicate this type of training could effectively reduce. You know what I found interesting once? I came across this study. They did it I think it was in a dental office in a waiting room. And everybody in the dental office in the waiting room was essentially paid actors. And, coffee table, magazines, TV on the wall, running the news channel, reception desk, gal behind the desk, file folders on the wall, like an actual dental studio. And there was one person there who didn't know what was going on, who was, basically scheduling in for a dental appointment and thought they were going to see a dentist. And what they did was they had this beep, very loud beep that would go off. I think it was on time schedule. Let's say it was like every 3 to 5 minutes. Let's say it's every 3 minutes. It would go beep. And then everybody would stop looking at their phone, reading their magazine, watching the TV. And instead of sitting there, they would stand up and wait 10 seconds, and then they would sit down. This new, individual that was placed in the room to see what they would do, sat there and watched them do it once, watched them do it a second time. And then in the third time, she got up and sat down with them. Fourth time, got up and sat down with them. It doesn't take human beings long to follow, what the rest of the sheep do. Okay, we're herd animals. We are. That's how we've populated the world. That's how we've accomplished so much. That's how we create cities. That's how we create roadworks and sewage systems and all this shit. That's what we are, right? So having some awareness around the bias makes sense. The problem, though, is that, when you talk about like comforting lies versus the uncomfortable truth, just be yourself, be a nice guy, all that shit. And then you start seeing things like, well, I was a nice guy. I was a shoulder that she cried on, but she went off and fucked Mr. Exciting, the bad boy with the tattoos on the motorcycle, right? Like, if you've watched enough of my stuff, or if you follow me on social media, like one of the things that I pop on social media often, even mostly on Twitter, is I get these like trending stories, and it's like there's always the guy, once every couple of weeks, he's like, I don't understand. I was such a nice guy, and I was a shoulder for her to cry on when her boyfriend was treating her like shit, and we were out for a date, and then she got a text message from him, and she just left. She made an excuse and she left, and then she went and banged him, and I don't understand why that is, because I'm a really nice guy, and I think that I deserve, a great gal. I'm a swell dude, and it's like, well, keep believing the comforting lies then, right? Vast majority of dudes. Consider the factors that influence your decisions, challenging the biases. That's what very, very few people do. And even if you are even when you challenge the bias, if it feels, because that's what a lot of people are all about today, they're all about their feelings. I feel like I've talked about this in videos, in podcasts, and you Okay, I think we're back. For crying out loud. I have a feeling it might be a dodgy docking station that I've been using. People are telling me to swap out cables and try a different docking station, but just let me know in the chat that I'm back live and that you can see me, and we'll continue on. Matrix trying to take him out like old Tate. Likely had to restart. Yeah, it froze. Okay, so I guess it froze on your end too. Okay, perfect. I'm back. All right. Anyway, I got to the end of that cognitive bias thing. I don't think there's anything else to talk about over there. So let's do this. Apologies for the technical difficulties. Fuck, it is what it is, right? You're gonna get what you get. Let me grab the invite link here for you guys. We'll do some Q&A and take some call-ins. Again, if you want to call in, make sure you're watching live and you're on YouTube. So call in live and ask a question. StreamYard link, boom. Moral of the story in today's show is do not plug back into the matrix and be a pleb. Okay, come on. Why won't this post? There we go. And pin message. So the link to join is pinned at the top. I will drop it in all chat so you guys can get it off of Twitter's, Twatches, and everywhere else. I'm going to plug in my headphones while I'm doing that. Just going to run an ad reel, and we'll get back in with some Q&A in just a second. This episode is brought to you by the Unplugged Alpha Supplements and Grondike Soap Company. Brothers, if you're like me and you take what you put in your body seriously, you'll want to use the Unplugged Alpha Supplements. An obsession with absorption is what sets this line apart from the others. You want to make sure that you absorb as much of the supplements as possible so you don't end up peeing out expensive urine. My supplement line is made in the United States from the highest quality domestic ingredients. And unlike cheaper supplements from China in plastic bottles, mine ship in dark glass bottles to keep your supplements fresher, longer, and won't seep endocrine disrupting plastics into your supplements. Nothing is a hard tablet. Everything is in an easily digestible, bioavailable capsule. You can filter all products by various categories, including testosterone support, estrogen metabolism, fat burning, immune health, sleep support, and performance. Visit theunpluggedalpha.com/shop and use the subscribe and save option to get 10% off your supplement orders, or use coupon code ALPHA10 for 10% off a one-time order to try it out. Then, I use Tactical Soap and God of War beard oil every day. Tactical Soap is a handmade product made in the United States from ingredients you can actually pronounce, not conventional endocrine lowering toiletry chemicals. Both the soap and the beard oils are infused with bioidentical pheromones that are designed by a clinical psychologist and pheromone expert to maximize attractiveness to the opposite sex. Go visit coopersoap.com and get 10% off your order today. Guys, check out my website at richcooper.ca for more information on booking me for coaching, my community, my courses, and a whole bunch more. You can also find all the useful links pinned below in the top YouTube comment of all my videos. Now let's get on with the show. All right, so I just noticed that there's some chats here I got to deal with before I get to the call-ins. Again, the call-in link is pinned live. Sam was asking, what are your thoughts on AI infiltrating the financial and debt collection industry? How are they going to use AI? They'll probably... See, the problem with debt collection is it's heavily, heavily regulated by the government, and the collection agencies always have to find new ways to sort of pivot and get around the regulations, if you know what I'm saying. So what are they going to use AI for? To write copy for collection letters? I mean, anytime AI calls you, like you get one of these spam phone calls or whatever, most people don't engage them. That being said, there are a lot of gullible people. So they will try to integrate it to save costs, because cost savings is huge with automation, debt collection, financial services, stuff like that is what it is. Let me check some of these other ones here, because I think there was more. Let me take that. Where's that bubble? Oh, banners. There it is. I have a feeling if I bang the table, that's what throws off the connection. Figure that out. Okay, there's a Q&A join link I'm talking about. And we'll go back to the chat. Sam Whiskey, remove that. Somebody was talking about TD Bank here in the chat somewhere, or a bank, I think it was. Okay, so I'm just going to say a bank is pushing digital ID. What's a good alternative to credit card to resist this in my country? Well, first of all, get on the blockchain, get Bitcoin. I don't know why I need to explain Bitcoin. I mean, what are we at? It's been 6 years now. I mean, yeah, sure. I was skeptical at first too. I get it. 2017, it was like, okay, it was just obvious that this is going somewhere. I have the option in my community when you join to either pay on an annual basis or pay for a lifetime, but only in crypto. And you'd be surprised how many people are like, yo, I want to get on the lifetime. I'm like, okay, well, here's a Bitcoin address, here's a USDC address, whatever it is that you need. Let me know when it's sent. And they're like, can you explain how to use Bitcoin? No, right? It should be obvious to you guys, get Bitcoin, right? What has it done the last week? Last 7 days, it's like up over 30%. It's like financial crisis should be showing you, if you're paying attention, the value of something like that, right? So that's the first thing I would say is you do not need to comply with what the financial institutions are going to be asking of you if you have hedges outside of the financial system with cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin. So think about that. And I would not use anything. I mean, if you have alternative options, if they're saying you need to use this digital ID with your credit card for whatever reason, and you have an option that doesn't require that, then use the option that doesn't require that. Like, think. I swear there's going to be a time where somebody's going to ask a question like, hey, Rich, I just inhaled. What should I do next? Exhale, mofo. Shouldn't have to explain basic shit, right? Anyway, so let's take some Q&A here. Let's see. In the waiting area, let me know what it is you want to talk about, and we'll get to it. So let's hit Jack up over here, see what he's got for us. Hey, Jack, how you doing?
Hey, Rich, how's it going? I've been listening to you for.
Can I get you to speak up just a little bit? You're super quiet.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, it's a bit better.
All right. Yeah, I've been listening to you for a long time and very influential, and I appreciate everything you do. I just had a question about mastery and chasing excellence. So, when you're trying to learn something and you're on the path and you're getting that information, do you think for most people that the benefits and the rewards from that is delayed and they see it later on? And like when you doubt yourself in those moments, do you think you should just keep going on with it and
Yeah, so delayed gratification is what you're talking about. It's a concept that was very familiar to my granddad, not so familiar with kids today, right? He would, if he wanted to buy a sweater or a jumper, as they would call it in England, he would go to the Marks and Spencer, put down a couple of quid on it, a couple of pound, go back the next paycheck, put down a couple more pound, and by the time he paid it off, then he could walk home with a jumper, a sweater. Today, it's buy everything on credit. You deserve it. Me, give it to me now, right? So you have a serious entitlement mindset with a lot of people today. I mean, I was talking in my my school of entrepreneurship, right? So we have Zoom Q&As, and one of the guys on one of the calls was telling me that he's got great employees, but they'll only work so many hours, even though they have the opportunity to make more money putting in more time. And he's like, I can't get these kids to work more. I can't get them to do more. It's like they don't want to overwork more than 30, 35 hours, right? Like when I was in my 20s, it was pretty common for me to work like 50, 60 hours a week. I would just put in the time because the more time I worked, the more commission I would make, the more money I would make. So it's just like, I don't want to be poor. I don't want to sit around and do nothing. I mean, I can ride my motorcycle on the weekend. So I would just stay late and put a couple extra hours in, here and there, come in early, whatever, right? So I mean, what you're talking about is essentially, delayed gratification. When you learn something new, when you learn a new skill, like let's say it's like I'm 400 pounds and I'm overweight. Okay, new skill. Eat better, move more. Okay. There's no, like, if anybody could invent a pill that you could take that would make you fit overnight, that would be incredible. Like, that's what people want, but it doesn't exist. Right. So it's like months and years of hard, like every overnight success. Everybody's like, oh, this guy was an overnight success. Bullshit. Every overnight success that I know was 10 years of hard work. It's just they see the end result. Right. They just see the guy in the supercar or whatever, you know, at that time, but they don't see like the years leading up to it and the sacrifices and the work, the lack of sleep, you know, like the blood, sweat, and tears and all that shit. They don't see any of that stuff. Right. So people want instant. And if you can get your head wrapped around instant is for losers, instant is for wimps, you know, you will find success in the projects and the things that you're trying to find success out of if you put in enough time. I don't know if that's answering your question or if it's going in the right direction, but it sounded like that's what you were asking me.
Yeah, I think that answers my question. Like, what do you think is holding people back? Do you think it's people caring about what other people think, or their own like if they fail, what you know, like what they come up with their head is the worst case scenario? Do you like is it like fear is
fail in
stopping
what
people?
sense?
I just think like for myself, like sometimes I get into my head and I don't think I have options. But if I become like really optimistic, I realize that if I just stay on the path and I focus on what is truly important to me and what I want to learn, I think I can get really ahead. But I also think that time is not on my side, because early on I've thought time is on my side and I can just do what I want. I mean, for the majority, I've just done like martial arts and stuff, and I realized that like I can take that to the extreme and I have nothing to fall back on. And you know, I've met some people that have introduced me to like other aspects of the world, primarily finance and things like that. And that's what I wanted to do originally when I was younger, and I just decided, I was like, fuck all this. I'm just going to do martial arts. I'm going to go to the dojo every single day, and I'm going to figure out like what it is from there. And
Have you ever competed in a fight?
Yes.
And how did you do?
I would say overall record was like 8-6.
Okay, so average.
Yeah, average.
So but not enough to really, you know, make money at it, make it a career.
No,
go all in
that's on it. Like towards the end of it, like that's what like was the main focus, is like I want to make money from this. If I can't make money from this, then I'm not going to do it. Like, you know, it was 500 to show, 1,000 to win, and that's just not enough. And
so it's okay. So stop doing it then. If you know, if it's not.
I stopped doing it like six years ago. And I just been focusing on learning business and finance, and I've been connecting with a lot of guys that have professional experience and stuff. So I'm going to school now, and that's the main focus.
What are you in school for?
Accounting.
How old are you?
I'm 29. I'm going to be turning 30 in November.
Do you like bean counting? Like, do you like reconciling columns?
I do. You know, it's repetitive and it's almost like watching paint dry. But I mean, I like the concept, and I like that it's relating to other subjects and stuff like that.
Okay. Well, the world needs bean counters. It needs accountants. It needs CPAs. It needs bookkeepers. It needs people that do that stuff, because I won't fucking do it. Like, I hate it. Right. So like what I don't like to do, what I'm not good at, I'll just pay somebody else to do. And when you find yourself in this, you know, situation where you're doing something and you're chasing greatness, and, you know, like martial arts or, you know, whatever you got into, and you find out, okay, well, I'm not that great at this. Like, I find that with, can I use an example? Golf. Everybody's like, oh, let's play some golf. Golf's fun. Golf's great. Let's go to the, you know, the greens. I suck at golf. I hated golf. It's It's the
I
most
tried.
frustrating
Yeah,
game.
I tried it. It
I'm like,
was
fuck
terrible.
it. I'm like, I sold my golf club. You know what I did? I went to visit my cousin in England and he took me skeet shooting. I'm like, fuck, this is awesome. Came back, sold my golf clubs, got a break action shotgun, got the course and all that sort of, like, you know, like you have to pivot, you have to adjust, right? You want to get somewhere in life, you want to be able to maneuver, right? Like you were talking about options, like I don't have options, time is not on my side, sort of thing.
Yeah,
You have options, like, you know, you can do a lot more than you think that you can, right? Like we've done, like human beings have done some pretty fucking incredible shit, and we're pretty much all wired the same way. The difference, you know, between the guy that gets what they want and the guy that doesn't get what they want is very marginal. There's not that much of a difference, right? Like some people are gifted in some sense. Like there's only one Elon Musk out there right now, you know, that we know of, sort of thing, right? So, but even that difference is, you know, on a percentage basis, not that big.
yeah. But he worked his ass off. I mean, he fucking slept in the, you know, in the wherever he had to in order to make his business go. Like he was relentless with it. And I just like going back to the question, like if I have doubts with what I think I'm being relentless with and progressing with, like
You always have doubts.
know,
Everybody has doubts with what they're
yeah,
doing. You know, the difference between people that get their goals and people that don't is, you know, you'll either find a way or you'll find an excuse. It's as simple as that, right? And,
yeah,
you know, sometimes the excuse is the way. You know, for me, it's like, again, back to the golf. I sucked at golf. I hated it. I didn't like it. It was a stupid fucking game. It was a waste of my time. You know, the only aspect of it that I liked was hanging out with friends and the fucking beer, like the beer cart girls. That's it. Everything else sucked. So I'm like, okay, I'm clearly not finding a way to make this happen. So I'm going to find an excuse, and it's because I hate it and it sucks, and I'm not going to play it anymore. That's okay. Does that make sense?
yeah, that makes sense.
All right. I'm going to grab some of these other dudes. Thanks for hopping in, Jack.
Okay,
Peace. All right. Let's see who we got here in the private chat. Oh, we got one relevant to the show. Jesse is asking, resisting being plugged back into the matrix. Okay, Jesse.
Hey, so my question would be pretty similar to the last guy, but when you're unplugged, you got to do the work because when you're under society's comforting lies, typical younger guys, they just play video games or jack off to porn, eat junk food, and do what's easy and avoid doing what's hard. And then when you're doing the work, you're forced to like push your comfort zone. But sometimes I begin to question, like, when is the payoff? I really begin to question what my real genetic potential is, if it's actually possible for success in the areas of my life, fitness. I'm question my ethnic background because I may not be genetically gifted as a white or black guy, so it's going to be a lot harder for me to become physically fit. The same thing with dating. I sometimes wonder if other
Okay, well,
ethnicities.
let's just stop and hover on the self-care, physically fit, genetically gifted stuff. Every human being has the genetic potential to reach single-digit body fat numbers. Asian people too. Bruce Lee.
Okay.
Dude was jacked as shit. Anybody can do it. Like your ethnic background has no bearing whatsoever on your genetic potential. Like there's limitations. Okay, like there's certain people that are genetically gifted in the sense where they have muscle fibers that are that give them like a double bicep peak. For example, like certain bodybuilders, Flex Wheeler, Dorian Yates, they had certain genetic gifts that nobody else would be able to come close to. But anybody could get down to single-digit percentage body fat, like those competitive bodybuilders would, right?
Right.
So, like, I'm a firm believer that you need to reach your genetic potential as far as your physical fitness goes and your health goes. So you take yourself where you can get to, and then you accept that you've gotten there.
Right. And also, to be honest, I don't think, being a child of immigrant parents, I don't know if, my parents were all that competent. So I'm not sure how much competence I can really like get to. Like, I always try my best, but, sometimes I still like feel awkward in social settings, and like just like mastering like communication and like social caliber. It's all been like very difficult for me, as, for parents who, were naive to the American culture. And it's just, I'm not trying to, be a victim or anything, but sometimes just feel like I'm at a slight disadvantage just because of, that kind of stuff.
Well, we all have slight disadvantages, my friend. I mean, I have a follicle disadvantage on top of my head. So
Yeah.
you own it. Who cares? Whatever. Right.
Mhm.
Improve in areas that you can control, do well in, what you can do well in, where you excel in. They always say to amplify your strengths and to minimize your weaknesses. In the business world, the worst thing you can do with employees is try to train. Like, I used to have this guy that I would coach in an up and coming business. So this guy was an entrepreneur, and he was having a problem with the sales guys, and most of his sales guys sucked.
Mhm.
And he was putting all of his time and resources and training and doing whatever he could to make them better salespeople. And I was like, stop it. You've got, your one guy that's getting 80% of your sales, and you got these 7 other people that are fucking anchors in your business, and you're investing all this time and money in trying to make them really good salespeople. And all you're going to do is end up with really good shit salespeople. Right. So it's
Right.
like, like you get rid of them, you cut the cancer out of the business sort of thing. So, I mean, like, you have to surrender to certain things in life, at what you're going to be good at and what you're not going to be good at. Right.
Mhm.
There's always all these ethnic jokes, right? Like, they say like, like white man can't jump, or Asian guys are really good at math, whatever. Then do whatever it is that you excel at. Do whatever it is that you have strengths in, and forget about the shit that you can't control, because there's probably people out there that are probably looking at, things that you have capacity and capabilities in, and they're realizing, well, I can't do it as well as that guy can. Right. It's like, you don't mill over what you can't control. You don't mill over spilled milk. It's like, okay, this fucking milk is spilled. All right, whatever. Let's just go on, to whatever the next thing happens to be. But like the victim mindset, the loser mindset, the hovering over things that aren't serving you, that aren't in your strength category, it's a waste of time.
Mhm.
It was like I was talking to the other guy about golf, right?
Right.
Why would I try to improve at something that I'm clearly not good at? I can't see the fucking ball after I hit it. It's too small, right? I never swing the club right. Doesn't matter. And I don't even like it. So it's like, okay, fine. I'll never be a world-class golfer. I don't even fucking care to go play golf. Hey, Rich, come play golf with us. Nope. Not going. You want to go boating? You want to drive fucking race cars? You want to, do a rally? Let's go do that. You want to fly planes? I'm down. Right. So it's just surrendering to what, doesn't serve you, what is no good for you, what you're no good at. You see what I'm saying, right?
Right. Of course I do. All right. Well, thank you, Rich. I
All right,
appreciate
man.
it.
See ya. All right. Let's see what we got here in a private chat for more Q&A here. Man, my girl I knew for 4 years made it the 4th. I left the country for 1 year chasing my dream. Now she's sobbing. Oh, okay. So we got a cheating gal here. Let's give the cheating gal caller a shot. Hello.
Yo, what's up, Mr. Richard Cooper? Yo,
Keep it as clean as you can for YouTube. But so what's the story? So what's going on here? So why are you here right now?
okay. So basically, I knew this girl from 3 years ago. She had a bad past. I didn't read your book as yet. She had a bad past, and
Bad past? Like,
accepted
what do you
it.
mean? Like, she had a whole bunch of red flags?
Yeah, she had a whole bunch of red flags. So
Okay.
she basically had sex with 3 guys multiple times, and then they did a threesome on her. And when I read the book about a couple months ago, I saw that she had these red flags, but I wasn't red pilled at the moment. So now I've been away for about a year,
Mhm.
and I came back to the country, and then came to find out, hey, she's been messing around, and now she's asking for forgiveness. She's saying she's sorry. I could see that she's genuinely sorry. And when she went back the 4th time to this guy, she told him that it was over. She doesn't like it. And then when I came back in March, I knew something was wrong. I could have, her vibes wasn't with me anymore.
Let me guess. You're from the Caribbean. Sounds like Jamaica, maybe. You left. You went to improve yourself, make some more money, get a new degree, something. You came back. Your situation improved. Am I close to the truth here somewhere?
Yeah. You're basically close. Not Jamaica, but I'm in the Caribbean. Yeah.
So you came back with a new skill, new money, new visa, new passport, maybe, and she's begging for forgiveness. What she did was wrong, and she wants you to take her back.
Yeah, basically. So she's been giving me hints before she actually told me what happened. Like, she told me she deleted Instagram, but I never really asked her why she told me that.
Mhm.
And that was months before I even found out. So she's been giving me hints. She said she didn't know how to tell it to me.
What are
And
the
then,
red flags that this gal has?
first of all, piercing. She had one piercing on her nose.
Mhm.
Her past was really bad. She was very young when she messed up,
Mhm.
and she doesn't have a good communication with her dad. Although I
She was
used
very
to
young when she messed up. You mean she was very young when she lost her virginity?
yeah, very young, yeah.
And I'm assuming she's got a large notch count as a result of that too, right?
No, right now her notch count is at 5. I was the 4th.
Mm-hmm. How old was she when she lost her virginity?
I believe at 14, making 15. Yeah.
And what's so special about her? Like, why would you take her back?
Well, basically the bond that we have, that we share. She basically helped me throughout my struggles. When I needed a little bit of cash, she would give me some, and she never asked back for it. I told her in the future I'm into cryptocurrency, um, and I told her in the future, when I make it, I'll help her and her family, so she doesn't have to worry. And she stuck by my side throughout my struggles and everything. And she's really a down to earth girl. She's struggling. She has it worse than me, and yeah, and friends has a part to play in it as well. She listens
How
to her
old is she?
friends. Right now she's 18.
She have any kids?
No.
Well, my friend, you left to go do something, and I'm assuming you left her as a girlfriend, a committed woman to you, like she'd claimed you, at that point, and you came back and you found out that 3 guys ran a train on her.
No. That was before I met her.
Oh, before you
So
met her, she had a
yeah,
threesome.
before. Yeah.
Okay, but so when you were away, she cheated on you with how many guys? Was it one guy? Was it
With
what?
one guy, and she fucked that one guy 4 times. Sorry,
Yeah.
she had sex with that guy 4 times.
Yeah, I don't make any exceptions for this. It's like if a chick steps out on me in the relationship after she's committed to me, especially if she's asked, for monogamy, like she wants to claim me and she steps out, it's goodbye. I can't trust you. You're a hoe. Bye-bye. That's it. Done. There's 8 billion people on the planet, and you're telling me that you can't replace this hoe with a woman that can be loyal to you? It doesn't matter if she's bailed you out, given you money, took care of you when you had a cold or a cough or whatever. None of that stuff matters because men and women are different. Men view women differently than women view men. And you've come back as a better man, and you've come back to a chick that let you down. I don't know why any guy would take that back. And I think that that inherently. Like, I think deep within your core, within your beliefs, you're disgusted by her. I would be anyway. So why would you even contemplate taking this woman back that, ran around behind your back? And that's only the one that you know about.
Yeah, facts. That's right. Well, to be honest, this was my first heartbreak. So it's like,
Congratulations, my friend.
yeah,
You've now, begun life as a man.
yeah,
Women
that's
will
right.
let you down. They will break your heart. They will lie to you. Women will cheat on you. It's in our nature, right? But women can also be very kind and loving and actually be faithful to you. Some women have that capacity. But as soon as somebody shows you who they are, believe them. They don't need second and third chances because she'll do it again. I guarantee you.
Yeah, I told her the same thing, because I wish I read your book much earlier, but I mean it's life, I'm 20.
It is life.
And I said to myself, I pledged this to myself when I was 18. I said I'm gonna be a millionaire by 25.
Good.
And all these girls that ditched me out in school, I'm gonna have them on my yacht,
You
and
will.
you know what I'm gonna do to them, So
You go and chase that excellence, and you go and achieve that dream of yours, because this chick is not going to help you achieve that. She'll be an anchor, and you know it.
yeah, that's right. But one thing, right? I was contemplating whether I should, still have her there on the side whenever, I need her, per se.
Look, man, if you just want to use her for recreational purposes and have a friends with benefits type of relationship, do that. Do not marry this chick. Do not invite her into your life as a girlfriend. Do not take her on vacations. Do not bring her over for family events. She's shown you who she is. Believe her now. It never lasts, though. Oh, we lost him. Situations like that, where you're like, oh, I just want to sort of keep her around as an FWB sort of thing. It never lasts, because at some point, what she starts to do is she'll be like, well, I don't want to feel like I'm being used, and I'm starting to have feelings for you, right? And then they start to use that as a bargaining tool, right? And you're like, well, okay, fine, sort of thing. So personally, my advice is just cut her loose and go chase excellence. You'll find something better, trust me. All right, let me pull in. There was a kid here, I think. Sasha. Where's Sasha? We're both very young. Okay, where is the guy with the virgin girlfriend? There we go. Sasha.
Hi, I'm here.
Okay, so in the private chat, you said that you have a girlfriend. She wants to wait until marriage for sex, but you did have intercourse with her.
Yes, sir. So, we're both 19. We started dating 4 months ago. And when we started dating, I found out that she's a virgin. And going forward, I understood that it's not a lie. And she just said to me in the beginning that she's not necessarily waiting for marriage, she's just waiting for a right moment. And we had that right moment. I went for my jiu-jitsu competition. It just happened, And
hang on a sec. At your jiu-jitsu competition?
Yeah, we went out of town, she
Did you just win?
I got second place for the first time in black belt division, so I'm very happy. I'm a purple
How many
belt.
competitors were in that?
In the black belt bracket, it was 5, so relatively small division, but
okay, so 2 out of 5.
Yeah, I got second place.
Not bad. Yeah. Like I said, this is one of the things that really turns women on, is when they see a man chasing excellence, doing something competitive and winning. You didn't come in first, but even second place was good enough for, at that occasion, to, hey, let's get it on, right?
100%. So yeah, and when it happened, obviously it was consensual, but after, I don't know if this is her upbringing. She does have a single mom, and she just started regretting it, and she said that it was almost a traumatic experience after the regret itself. And I was like, hey, you know what, listen, it's fine, we'll just do it whenever it happens again, let it happen organically. And weeks passed, and it's been getting worse and worse, and she gave me an ultimatum, almost as if hey, I can't go against my heart. Reality is I want to wait till marriage. And yeah, I was kind of, I don't know what, I wasn't sure what to do,
Well, this is a difficult situation for a man, because if you have a man that has a bus pass and he's been taking the bus for years, and then you throw him the keys to a sports car, BMW, maybe something nicer like a McLaren, and then he drives that, and then you take away the keys and you say, sorry, now that you've had to go, you can't have this ever again. You're gonna have to take the bus again until I say so. That's a very difficult predicament for men to be in. I had this gal who purportedly was a 21-year-old virgin, and you probably, some of you guys watching right now will know that I had this scheduled for a Playing to Win podcast, because I legitimately wanted to dive into the topic with her and see what kind of assistance I could offer, because she's basically like, every guy that I'm with, you know, they want to bang me and then they dump me, or they'll cheat on me. And it's like, you know, I mean, I never did the show, long story short, so it's not there because she wouldn't verify her identity. You know, she gave me social media and I looked at that, but she wouldn't turn on her camera, you know, before the show. So I didn't believe that she was who she said she was. But long story short, I mean, you get situations like this where women will deny you sex unless you marry them. Fine. Perhaps a noble thing to do, but then they get mad if you've already had sex, either with her or, you know, in most cases with somebody else, and they want you to deny having sex until they say so, and then they get mad if you cheat on them, right? It's like, you know, it's the whole thing. Like, you know, if you've been driving a McLaren and then you're told to throw away the keys and get on the bus, you're going to be like, for really, like, for how long? Like, I have to do that sort of thing. So it's a difficult, you know, predicament. If you don't have, and by the way, it's different for men and women too. Like, notch counts do not affect men the way that they affect women. Women have a very low likelihood of being happy in a long-term marriage. Let me get the graph here because I have it saved in my phone. So if you're a virgin at marriage, your chances of happiness calculated over a 10-year span of time. And this is from the Teachman study. Sorry, there's two studies, the Teachman study and the Heritage study. You have an 80% chance of being happy in that marriage after 10 years if you're married as a virgin as a woman. If you've had one partner, that drops to 53%. If you've had 5 partners, it drops to 29%. Wow. So if marriage is important to you, if you have religious convictions, then you should marry a virgin. You know, I mean, the data seems very, very clear on that. The chances of you finding a virgin is very, very remote in North America, and the older the woman is, the more remote the chances of you finding one are going to be. So while it's a noble cause, like, does it matter to you? You know, do you see her as wife material? Is she going to be the mother of your kids? Is this a religious issue for you? Like, if all of those things are no, and you just want to have some sex and, you know, chasing excellence is more important, then I would let her go.
Well, I would say certainly this girl has genuine burning desire. I have read your book, and she does not have a lot of like red flags. I would say the only one is jealousy. It does have, maybe it does have to do with the fact I've had partners before and she didn't, you know, but I'm
You're
just
only 4 months into this relationship. 4 months is not a lot of time. You don't know what this chick's made of.
Right.
You don't know how she's going to react to stress. You don't know any of these things until they start happening over time, right? So again, you know, the question that you're asking is, I like sex. I'd like to have sex. We had sex. Now she doesn't want to have sex. She's, you know, reneging on it. She's got more than one red flag. I mean, you said that she's got jealousy issues, but she's also from a single mother household and she doesn't have a relationship with her father.
Right. Yeah.
So you'll probably start to see more and more as, you know, time goes on. You know, they start to pop up. Like, a chick from a stable household is a better choice than a chick from a single mother household.
100%.
Every single time, right? So again, you're only 4 months into this thing here, right? So I would look, dude, so you're a young man and you don't know a lot about women, and it's the whole thing, like, you don't know what you don't know. So if you're not religious, it doesn't sound like you are.
Not really, not really as much, no.
So why would you abandon your sexual strategy? Why would you abandon what matters to you because somebody else tells you to do so? And they may not be, you know, a great choice 4 months in, right? So, like, think about it. Like, all I'm saying is, think about what matters to you. I'm not saying do it. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm saying put yourself first and think about what matters to you. Right.
I want to ask you a question about this. If I were to wait, would that be considered, I don't know if it's the right word, would that be considered weak, as if I'm going into her manipulation? So
yeah,
I don't know.
It is because she's already had sex with you. She's
Right.
already consensually wanted you. She's had genuine burning desire. She's already had sex with you when you won the competition. You know, when you came in second place. She's already done it.
Right.
Right. So it's like, again, it's like, you know, here's the keys to my McLaren. Go drive it. Then you take the keys away and say, fuck you. You can't have it anymore. Not until you put a ring on this finger.
Yeah.
Right.
I see what you mean. Yeah. I was just
like, that's a game. Like, that's a game. Like, I would have more respect for her if she was a virgin, maintained her virginity, and didn't give it up, and then say, oh, now that I've given it up and given you a little taste of the cookie, you can never have the cookie again.
Right. I completely understand that.
See what I'm saying?
Of course, 100%.
It's, you know, it's one of those things, man. Like, you're gonna have to think about this one, you know, for yourself.
For sure, yeah. I'm taking some time for that. Yeah.
You were the guy that DM'd me, right?
I was, yes. I did
Good.
DM you. Yeah.
Very
I'm not
good.
sure if you...
See, this man paid attention to the, you know, to the autoresponder. Call in on the show, ask these questions. You guys help me out by allowing me to create content on these interesting topics, and you get answers too, right?
Of course, 100%. 100%.
All right, Sasha.
And lastly, I wanted to ask, this is out of topic. I am a jiu-jitsu competitor, and I am young, 19.
Yeah.
I'm not in college currently, and I have this pressure that I should be in college, but I am chasing excellence. I'm in a big gym for jiu-jitsu, and I have big goals in competing. Like, I mean, I've been doing this for years, and that's the only concern is financial excellence. I mean, I did get my real estate license, working with my dad under his brokerage, and I was just curious because I'm feeling a pressure, like as if I can't do these two things at the same time and achieve success, as if I have to focus on one, and this pressure is coming kind of from my father.
Well, you can train in combat sports and do real estate.
But do you believe you could be a professional in combat sports and do real estate at the same time?
Okay, well, I mean, the problem with selling real estate is you're on call pretty much all the time. If you have a class schedule or a competition on a weekend and you get a call from a client to, you know, take a look at a house that might net you 30 grand in commission, you've got a difficult decision to make, right?
100%.
So it could potentially conflict. There are things that you can do to earn an income that wouldn't conflict. That's one of the downsides to real estate.
I see.
I remember I was out on a date once with this gal that was a real estate agent. I just don't fucking, like, I wouldn't date them again or let them pull this shit. But this is, you know, long before I unplugged all that sort of stuff. And we're sitting there having sushi, and she gets a text message, and she's like, I gotta go. I'm like, go where exactly? Oh, I got to do a showing. You know, I got a client that needs to see this house right now, and it looks like it's going to sell. I'm like, you got to be fucking kidding. Like, you know, this is the life of a real estate agent.
I see.
Right.
I see.
One of the good things, by the way, if you're good at jiu-jitsu and you're competing, is, you know, you call it a good thing or a bad thing, but you're probably going to find that women will start throwing themselves at you or expressing significant interest, especially when you're winning.
I certainly found that. It's crazy because, I mean, growing up as a teenager, I had no attention from girls at all. I was super unconfident. And as soon as I went through puberty and I just started being active on Instagram, it's just been nonstop. Like, it's been nonstop.
And that's why she has jealousy, because she has competition anxiety around it, because she knows that you could get it, and she gave it to you when you know, were at a competition and came in second place. So she's always going to have that anxiety around it, right?
Most definitely. She actually brings it up, like, oh, well, you don't understand my side because you already have this much bodies before me. So it's, I don't know, it's kind of a manipulation tactic, I guess.
Don't let women manipulate you, man.
100%. 100%. Thank you for the book. Thank you.
All right, Sasha. See you, buddy.
All right.
Thanks. And guys, if you've read the book and you've enjoyed it and you got value out of it, please go to Amazon and leave a written review. It helps me out a ton. Thanks. Let's take a look here. What else we got? Got about another 10 minutes or so. We got a restraining order guy, long-term relationship. We got a lot of people in here. Sex, man. Opinion on financial. Let's try to hit something a little bit different from the gal talk. Let's see what we got here. Forces men never. You start expecting. Okay, well, a lot of good ones here, actually. All right, let's give it to Tyler. He's got a question about dating, paying for dates, this, that, and the other thing. All right, Tyler, what do you got for me, buddy?
Hey, good man. Great to be on the show, man. I just I'm actually new to the community, so I just want to tell you, man, I've been binge watching your stuff, and I'm
Cool.
I dig it, man. It's been really, really great. So yeah, I thought I'd one is just to share a story with the community of you know, I have one of the stories where I married a woman who would never ever divorce, you know, separate the father from the children, you know, good Christian gal, and and here I am. I'm at the tail end of just a vicious, just, you know, salacious, just lying, fraudulent restraining order. Spent 30 grand fighting it, you know, and there was nothing there really, but it was just, I mean, you know, and turning my kids.
So what changed? So what changed from, you know, the good God-fearing Christian woman to the monster that she became in the divorce machine?
You know, I'm still sort of exploring that question. I think, you know, over time, it was just kind of the slow degradation of just my own affections for her, in the sense of like, right. She grew up in a home that was the mom was the dominant figure, right? So the mom wore the pants in the family. I'm probably what you would describe as your typical alpha male. So it's like, I didn't play that. And so over time, it was just a constant conflict of, you know, like,
you got to look at the parents, man. Like, if you're going to marry a woman, you got to look at the relationship that her parents have, because she will model that in her own relationship. I'll tell you a quick story. I used to date this girl in my 20s, and we went to go visit her family at Christmas, and they had just moved back from Southeast Asia because they were teaching English over there or something like that. And they had this new place, and there's a big fucking rock in the backyard, and it's Christmas Eve. And her mom stood up and announced in front of everybody that the rock needed to be moved, and demanded that, you know, the father move the rock. And I wasn't red pilled. I wasn't, you know, like any of those things, but I just looked at the situation. I'm like, you, like, really? This is a demand that you're going to make of the man of the house on Christmas Eve to move a fucking rock? Family's coming over, and this rock is more like, you know, like, I thought about it. Right. And anyway, that relationship obviously didn't last, but you really have to look at that. You know, you have to look at that dynamic, you know, between 100%. Mom and dad. Absolutely.
I'll tell you, that's one of those things, like, you know, you start to go back and reminisce about, okay, what were the signs, right? How could I have seen this? And, you know, I remember early on, and we got married super young. So, but I remember having like experiences where the disrespect that they showed her father, both the mom and even, you know, my ex-wife and her sister, whatever. And she's like, they treated their dad like just a bumbling idiot. And he was actually a really good guy. He's a beta male, but he was a really good guy. And it was just like, and so I even turned to her one time. I said, you know, man, it really dropped, my jaw drops to see how disrespectful you are to your dad. I was too young to realize, like, okay, yeah, that's going to translate to then how it's going to come into my marriage. And so, yeah, no, I mean, my recommendation, I mean, first off, no matter what you think, right? I mean, I'm literally, guys, if you knew my ex-wife, it's like you would think there's no way she would do this. And sure enough, she did. And so if there is any way to avoid getting the state involved in your relationships, man, I absolutely affirm you need to do that. Make sure they stay out of it. And and look at the signs, you know, just like Rich is saying, and I'm saying is, you know, take a look at whatever signs that you see with the parents. That's what'll tell you a lot about her expectations.
Yeah. I mean, like you mentioned in the comments that you wanted to share an anecdote that utterly reinforces that men should never, ever get married, sort of thing. But if you have an agenda to have kids, you're going to live in a way that looks like marriage to the state, even if you don't get married. You may not be responsible for alimony or for division of assets, but you'll still have some sort of battle with kids. Right. Because it's a strong control mechanism. It's a good way for her to extract money with family law. There's all those things. Anyway, you also had a question about dating?
Yeah. So, I mean, mine, I think are real quick, right? So I've been kind of binge watching stuff. So these are just some practicalities. It's like, you know, one is like, what do you do with a gal who just like perennially just doesn't show up on time? And I'm talking like significant amounts of time. I'm a busy guy on a mortgage finance company.
Cancel her.
Right.
Cancel, like these women that do not respect your or value your time and your schedule. If you think that they're going to be valuable to you on a long-term basis, absolutely not. I had this one chick. She's like I used to draw the line at about 5 to 10 minutes, right? Because I had this one chick that made me wait 15, then it was 20, then it was 20. You know, I'm like, she's hot. Like, I'll wait, you know, 20, 25 minutes, 25 minutes, and 30. Like, I was a fucking idiot. right? And then, I got to the point where I'm like, you know what? If she's not going to be respectful of my time and she's not going to value, like the schedule that we set to meet up on, because you've got some whatever the fuck, made up reason why you can't make it or why you're running late or something happened. And that's like first impressions, then that's going to be a disaster down the line. So I would just start leaving, like I would just be like, you know what? I wouldn't even answer them, 5-10 minutes late. I would just get up and fuck off. Like I would just, grab my phone, call, text, the next chick, might be at FWB, might be another date. Something like I would just leave, set the example and let them know, just fucking leave.
I had a feeling you'd say
Cancel
that. Just sort of thought that was the right thing. And then
there's got to be consequences, man.
No, for sure. I'm with you. And then, the whole texting thing, I just have a question, like one of the things too, again, I'm busy. Like I run a company and, sometimes it's just like, man, I don't want to be accessible all the time.
Yeah.
Right? So like, are there times where you just like, hey, I'm not going to respond right now? Or
absolutely. Yeah. You just
I don't want to be into games, right? I don't like the whole texting game crap, but
how old are you?
I'm 49.
And how old do you normally date? Like in what age range do you usually date?
Well, I'm new. Like, I'm even still going through the divorce. So I'm really just not even trying to date right now. Yeah. But, I've had, some interest. So
is there an age range that you want to be specific about? Okay.
Yeah. Well, I just shouldn't be too public about it right now. I'll call in later when it's maybe more appropriate.
Fair enough. Yeah. When everything's wrapped up, but, do not get sucked into a text message barrage of bullshit where they're going to try to monopolize. Hey, how's your day? Oh yeah. So what are you doing with that? Da, 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 da. Oh, you're not going to believe what happened at work today. Like, just don't respond. If you're busy, you're at work, you're chasing excellence, you're putting your dent in the universe, you got meetings, you have people you're dealing with, you're making money, you're making serious bank, then what's the ROI on being distracted from that to texting back and forth with some gal that you barely know?
Yeah.
Right. Like just get back to them at your convenience on your schedule.
Okay.
Women that are,
so I just want to make sure that was cool.
Yeah. When they're too aggressive and they're blowing up and they're talking a lot on your inbox or whatever, and you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like it keeps coming. Like you have to set the example and like at the end of the day, like make them wait till the end of the day and say, hey, my days are pretty busy. Can't wait to see you on Thursday. Whatever the date, might be that you've set up. If they're just talking, they're not making a date, then make a date, right? Like you shouldn't be doing a lot of back and forth texting. It's like, get to the in real life meetup, get to the meetup where you can check them out, see them in real life, see what they're made of, because you can legitimately spend a lot of time with manipulative time wasters that look nothing like you think they look like if you're using dating apps, right?
Yeah. Well, my experience so far hasn't been a lot of like it's not a lot of BS stuff. I mean, it's just that, it's good stuff. It's relevant stuff. It's just that I just don't have time to respond to right now. It's
just let them know.
Right? Yeah. So no, I do. Yeah. So I do.
Plus when you get out there and you start spinning plates and your divorce is wrapped up, you're going to be dealing with more than one woman at a time. So how much time do you have to give them?
Chad? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to talk over you, but I hear in the community, people talk about Chad. I have no idea what that is. What's a Chad?
Chad is it's just a name for a guy that gets a lot of attention from women. It's basically an alpha male.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah. So they just call him Chad. Yeah, they have names for all this stuff. Stacy's are the girls that don't give attention to the dorks. They only give them to the Chads. I don't know what name they have for the dorks now, just dorks maybe or whatever. But Chad seems to be like the name that they've attached to the alpha male. He has a Chad, by the way, has a funny last name. His last name is Thundercock. Anyway, I'll let you marinate on that, man. Have fun going through the divorce grinder. I can promise you that it gets better when you're all done.
Yeah, no, appreciate it, man. Hey, thank you so much for doing what you do, man. Really, literally. Like,
all right, man.
Really
take care, Tyler. See you, buddy. All right. The damn divorce machine. It's going to get half of you that get married, guys. I'm telling you right now. It's going to get half of you that get married. And more than half of you that go through the divorce grinder that have to deal with the bullshit will deal with some significant bullshit too. I can tell you right now. So be very, very careful about the choices you make in life, and especially the woman that you invite into your life, because it can have some serious fucking consequences. 55 ability. Okay. Here, let's give it to Paul because he's been waiting a long time and he's got a question about the book. Paul, what's up, buddy?
Oh, g'day, Rich. It's so good to see you. I've been red pilled for 8 weeks, and I've listened to your book twice on Audible, and I've started to read Rollo's book. And mate, I hate to say it, but I've lived every chapter of your book for 55 years.
Yeah.
To cut a really long story short, I met a woman when I was 35. I was basically an alpha. Met a woman when I was 35, took on her 2 kids, raised them as my own. She stopped working. I was the bank, and that ended 15 years later with 3 kids of my own in the process. Broke my heart, as it does, got the T-shirt. 5 years later, met a woman who I thought was a woman of my dreams. I listened to your Trainwreck podcast about covert narcissists. She was a covert narcissist, used all my resources, love bombed me, used the sex, did the whole thing, devalued me, and then literally, like in that podcast, chucked the empty cup over my shoulder. I have been consuming that, and it's always funny. You said, during that drama or when you're at your lowest, this is when you usually come to this stuff. And I have consumed so much of your content during this time. And you know what? It all rings true. All the red flags, all the things, being used, being abused, being taken for granted, the whole box and dice, Rich. That's the only way I can really explain it. Yeah. So my question really, I can't believe it. The more I've read, the more I've watched of you and Rollo, the more I've read of your stuff, the more podcasts I watch of yours, I just go, tick a box, yep, that was me. Tick a box, yep, that was me. Tick a box, that was me. The betatization by 1,000 cuts, that was me. And my last relationship of a year and a half with a woman who promised me the world, where she eventually cheated on me, left me destroyed, and I'm still getting over that, and took on my family and destroyed my young children. So here I am, Rich, at the age of 55. I know you talk about, making bank and that sort of thing, but my question really is, where to? Where to for me? I'm 55. I thought this last woman I met was going to be, dare I say it, I'm going to say it, my soulmate, the woman I was going to be with forever. And here I am, I'm sort of going, I'm too old to be starting afresh, making bank. Am I too old to be? I'm in the gym. I've always been fit. I've always held on to my physical stature. I'm not a big guy, but I'm well built, and but I never seem to have had worries with women. But my real problem is, I just think age is maybe catching me. You know what I'm saying? Back to the first guy who was whinging about age being 29 or 30, going, oh my God, I wish that was me. But Rich, like I said, my question is it too late at 55? What do I do at 55? Where do I start?
You know how many guys, Ray Kroc got involved with McDonald's in his 50s, Colonel Sanders. There's a lot of entrepreneurs out there that built some pretty significant things in the world after the age of 50. So the first thing I would say is, you don't need to get married and you don't need to live with a woman. And that right there eliminates 99% of your problems, right? You've already got your kids out of the way. There's no benefit to you inviting the risk of a woman into your house. So I would just completely wipe that off the table, unless she brings more to the table than what you have. Yeah. And I believe the laws in Australia are, you live in Australia, right?
Yeah.
So I believe laws in Australia are very similar to the way they are in Canada. So, I mean, if you invite a woman into your household that has more than you, then you're in a safe position. So that would probably be the only exception.
Yeah. Well, this was the issue with the girl I was with. Honestly, sexual market value, I reckon she was probably a point or two higher than me. Very attractive woman, really good career. And honestly, Rich, it just got to a point 18 months later where she just looked at me one day. I fell into that comfort zone where I thought I can back off. And she looked at me one day, and it was honestly a case of, I think I can do better. It left me destroyed. And like I said, I am questioning now, where do I pick myself up from and start again? Do I look at starting a business? And I've owned businesses in the past, but I relied on that old comforting lie of, if you have a good job enough, a job good enough, that is enough. And I'm a school teacher. I earn fairly decent money, above average, but not nothing that's going to blow anyone away. I own my house. I drive a nice car. But at the end of the day, for somebody who was above my my marketplace value, it wasn't enough. So I learned all those hard lessons. I've learned all the hard lessons that you and Rolo put down.
Yeah, you got to accept that if you get involved with a woman that's got a higher sexual marketplace value than you do, she will probably leave at some point.
Yeah.
Like the chances of that coming to an end within a few years is pretty high, right? So women always have to look across or up at the guy that they're with. So if she has to look down to you because her value would be higher. And let's be honest, like women generally overestimate their value. And I think men generally underestimate their value to some degree, especially, later on in life, because men tend to age better than women. Like women don't produce the same levels of collagen in their skin as they get older than men do. So they have more wrinkles. They tend to age faster, especially in their 40s than men do, sort of thing. Yeah. So, I mean, you can look at a number of factors, but at the end of the day, you don't need a woman in your life as a wife. You don't need a woman in your house because it doesn't make any sense, with the one exception. So what else is there to do now that you know what the facts are? And again, the purpose of this podcast is why men love comforting lies, and it's because they're comforting. And
yeah,
comfort,
I lived it.
And comfort is always better than uncomfortable. So uncomfortable truths are, look, Paul, this is the way that women are, and this is how they're generally going to operate. And the older women are, generally the more bossy, disagreeable, argumentative, controlling they can be, right? Like a lot of the younger guys that are in their 20s that are dating women right now, they have no idea how these career boss bitches can really be in a long-term relationship. And they can be a real pain in the ass, right? So they're not always pleasant to be around. So why does it matter? Like I would find other things and hobbies and camaraderie, pursuits, if a business is of interest to you, then that, sort of thing. But putting women front and center like you have your entire life got you to where you are today. So understand that you need to start putting yourself first is probably the biggest starting point for you. Like making your own self, your own mental point of origin, as they say, is what's going to start to fix things for you, and make every decision around how does this serve me? How is this good for me? How does this work for me? And if it doesn't, then it's like, okay, it's either a goodbye or it's keep it at arm's length.
And I look at those milestones in my life, Rich, where I started successful businesses, where I started to take on new things, and you know what? I hate to admit it, but I'll admit it. I sacrificed them to a woman, and here I sit in it.
For what?
Yeah.
For what at the end of the day, right?
Yeah. For what? That's
So there you go. Just brings right back to how does this serve me? Why would I do this? How does this improve my life? Like the whole mental point of origin stuff. And when you find that you start asking those questions and you approach it from a logical perspective, you're not going to invite crazy into your life. You're not going to invite potential chaos into your life. You might date it. You might have a short-term relationship with it. You might friends with benefits, whatever, but you're not going to say, hey, let's get married or let's live together or, let me take you out on a trip or something like that if she's crazy. You know what I mean?
So you're saying stay the course. You're saying
stay the course.
Keep hitting the gym. Think about a business. Think about all those factors that you laid down constantly about bettering yourself. You're saying at 55, it's not too late. Keep trying to hit those milestones.
With the way that you're describing your life and what you've done, women don't offer any value to you unless they do. You see what I'm saying? So it's like any woman that you're going to deal with, date, talk to, sort of thing. I would unless they bring something useful to your life to the table with low to no risk, then I wouldn't bother. It's like, do what matters to you right now. Yeah. I mean, you're starting to lean into the autumn years of your life. Yeah. Why do you want to spend them in chaos or chaotic matters with women that are going to invite drama and, silly things there? You got your kids, do you have friends?
Yeah, I have friends. Yeah.
Spend more time with them.
Yeah.
Have some good laughs with them.
Yeah, and my
take
issue
trips
is
with them.
too, Rich, in dating, particularly that last woman that I thought was going to be in my life forever. I have a 10-year-old daughter. I have a 14-year-old daughter, so I'm trying to raise them the right way. And and you know what? It's the lessons that woman showed my own girls. Which really reinforces some of the things you're saying. That bad behaviour that they saw in her, and you're trying to raise, as you're probably aware, you're trying to raise good, solid young women yourself.
You'll do more for your name and for your legacy by investing time and resources into that than into a long-term relationship, which will probably end the same way that the rest of them all ended.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to be black pill here or anything like that.
No.
It's just the stage you're at and the recency that you are to all this information. Like you said, this is like 8 weeks ago that you started coming across all this stuff.
Yeah.
It's very new for you. Like you're going to get angry. You're going to want to go back to your old way. You're going to say, fuck that guy, Rich. Girls are okay. There's sugar and spice and all things nice until they're not, sort of thing. So marinate on it a little bit more. Spend some time by yourself. They call this this mode monk mode, sort of like, doing your own thing, improving yourself, mental point of origin, all those awareness, like go on adventures with friends. Like if you've got mates that you haven't done things with, that you've talked about doing things, go and do them.
Yeah. Oh, look, yeah, you're right. And because I made that mistake too, and you're going to laugh and hear this woman I was involved with for 18 months, she was and I watched that podcast too. She was a long distance relationship. When I say a long distance relationship, she was an hour and a half away, and all those rules and all that BS that you went through that happens in long distance relationships, that hypergamy that goes with it, that I just went, you are bloody kidding me. That is exactly what I've experienced.
Right.
So yeah, pearls of wisdom, Rich, pearls of wisdom.
All right, man.
Okay. Thanks very much.
Have a good night. All right. I think with that being said, we're pretty much at the end of the show. I see a lot of guys waiting to pop in and chat. I'm not going to have time, guys. It's I do a 90-minute show max on this. So I'm live every Monday at 8 p.m. Come in early if you have questions. If you have the means, the link to book me privately is pinned below. There's also the community option, which is also going to be pinned below. You should join. I mean, if you're looking for a group of solid guys and you want to be held accountable and get some things done, take a look at it. Absolutely. So I guess with that being said, I want you guys to have an awesome night. Thanks for watching. Leave a comment and the like button. And with that, we'll peace out with the outro. All right, guys, if you enjoyed that podcast, make sure you visit my website at richcooper.ca to learn more about my courses, my book, The Unplugged Alpha, community, or booking me for private coaching. Also, if you are a Canadian with $15,000 or more of credit card debt and what you are doing right now isn't paying off the balances, then visit totaldebtfreedom.ca and hit get a free quote to see if you qualify to settle your credit card debt for less than you owe today over the next 48 months. Make sure you check out the top pinned comment on YouTube for all the links mentioned during the show. Peace.